Good, happy Saturday morning, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, CDC compares flu season to 2009 swine flu season. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR.
What, these both support the immune system?
Too many choices? Well, along with digestive health, Florastor provides an extra layer of immune support.
Really?
Unlike many other probiotics, Florastor stimulates the production of IgA.
IgA?
Oh, IgA is a protein that promotes health and defense against infection.
All right, I'll try it.
Woo! See you later, ladies. Let's go. Be biotic with Florastor.
Well, Shelley and Tom, according to the CDC, about 1 in every 13 people who goes to the doctor's office or a hospital like CMC has symptoms of the flu.
The flu season has hit New Hampshire very hard.
Dr. Deborah Margolis, medical director at Convenient MD in Nashua, sees the flu every day.
We're seeing a big rise in urgent care visits for influenza or influenza-like illnesses. I'd say overall at least a 30% increase from our typical volume.
She's not the only health provider seeing the increase. Across the nation, medical professionals are seeing the highest levels of influenza-like illnesses since 2009, when H1N1 or the swine flu hit hard.
So we see cyclical increases in influenza about every 8 to 10 years or so, and this is, going along with the H1N1 flu many years ago.
According to the CDC, New Hampshire is among 43 states across the nation seeing high influenza activity, and it's hitting people hard.
It's usually a high fever, comes on very quickly. Patients will often tell me, I get hit by a truck. It came on very quick. They can even tell me what time it came on. So they'll be, and they'll have high fever, cough. We're seeing sore throat with it. Sometimes some stomach issues such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, usually muscle aches, body aches especially.
The rate of hospitalizations associated with the flu this year is at its highest since the CDC began tracking the flu 10 years ago. And it's not over yet. The CDC says they are still expecting several more weeks of elevated flu activity. Medical professionals reminding people that it's not too late to get the flu vaccine. Live in Manchester, I'm Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. James Foley's mother grateful for capture of ISIS members who killed him. Let's take a listen to the video from WCVB Boston.
Really grateful.
It's a feeling Diane Foley has been waiting 3.5 years for. Grateful to learn that the final 2 ISIS members responsible for her son James's death in Syria have been captured.
The FBI has hung in there, persevered. This has been very difficult, very dangerous, and complicated to find these individuals.
Diane and her family learned the news in January, several weeks before the New York Times reported that U.S.-backed rebel forces in Syria had captured the 2 ISIS members. The pair were part of a group of 4 ISIS members from the United Kingdom who tortured and beheaded Western hostages, including journalist James Foley.
He was an optimist. He believed that something good could come out of something bad.
U.S. officials say 1 ISIS member was already in custody in Turkey, and that the 4th member, the leader Nick nicknamed Jihadi John, was killed in 2015 in a CIA drone strike. Diane does not want these latest men captured to be killed. Instead, she wants them tried in a fair civilian court and given a life sentence.
This brings us the most solace. I mean, it's not going to bring Jim back. This hatred has to stop somewhere, and it can only be stopped if we can capture people who continue to promote it and recruit for it, if you will.
Now, the Washington Post is reporting tonight that White House officials are divided over how to handle these two captured ISIS militants. Some want the men sent to Guantanamo Bay, while others want them brought to the U.S. and criminally tried, which is also what Diane Foley wants. In the studio, Matt Reed, WCVB News Center 5.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Former LePage staffer resigns from White House amid abuse allegations. Let's take a listen to the video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
We wish him well. He worked very hard. I found out about it recently and I was surprised by it. But we certainly wish him well. It's a obviously tough time for him. He did a very good job when he was in the White House. And we hope he has a wonderful career, and hopefully he will have a great career ahead of him. But it was very sad when we heard about it, and certainly he's also very sad. Now, he also, as you probably know, he says he's innocent, and I think you have to remember that. He said very strongly yesterday that he's innocent. So you'll have to talk to him about that, but we absolutely wish him well. Did a very good job while he was at the White House. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, and there you go on that video of President Donald Trump weighing in on the things. A second White House staffer has departed the Trump administration in wake of abuse allegations. Spokesman Raj Shah confirms speechwriter David Sassoon resigned Friday after the White House learned of allegations against him. Saharan worked for the Maine Department of Health and Human Services and then as an advisor for Governor Paul LePage before leaving Maine to join the Trump administration last May. He was also a spokesman for the Maine Republican Party. Shah says Sorheen denies the allegations, which were first reported by the Washington Post. The Post says Sorheen's ex-wife claimed he was violent and emotional abusive during their short-lived marriage. Staff Secretary Rob Porter, one of President's closest aides, resigned Wednesday after the publication of allegations that he'd abused two of his ex-wives. He, too, denied the allegations. Chief of Staff John Kelly expressed to President Trump willingness to resign. Sources. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News.
Yes! Ours is still buffering. What's happening?
You're experiencing a network delay. You both need to be watching that on the iPhone with Verizon, the best streaming network.
How long have you been here?
I've been here a couple days.
Get the best unlimited on the most awarded network. And now when you buy iPhone 8, you'll get one on us.
That growing firestorm over the top aide Rob Porter forced out after two ex-wives accused him of abuse. Our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega has the latest. And Cecilia, I was watching your colleagues in the briefing room yesterday. Chief of Staff John Kelly, other top aides facing mounting questions. How long do they know about these allegations and why didn't they take action?
Yeah, George, and you probably saw that the White House didn't have very many answers to any of those questions. Now that this story has exploded, Rob Porter is officially off of the job. He packed up his office here yesterday and left. This after the White House had initially said he would stay on the job after resigning to oversee a smooth transition. With the West Wing in crisis mode, overnight Chief of Staff John Kelly sent a letter to staffers telling them the White House takes matters of domestic violence very seriously. This as the administration faces mounting questions about exactly how long Kelly knew of those bombshell abuse claims made by former Staff Secretary Rob Porter's two ex-wives. His first ex-wife releasing this photo to ABC saying he punched her in the face in 2005. In that letter, Kelly never mentioned Porter's name, but he offered counseling assistance, saying, "We understand the shock, pain, and confusion that these allegations have caused in our workplace." Both women tell ABC News they told the FBI about Porter's alleged abuse when they were interviewed during a background check for his White House security clearance. And they say Porter contacted them after, one telling the Washington Post he asked if she used the word violent in her interview. His second wife, Jenny Willoughby, says she told them everything.
They were asking me to describe his character, asking me to describe anything that I thought might be problematic in his position. I was very candid and frank and detailed with them about my marriage.
And his first wife, Colby Holderness, tells ABC in late 2016, another woman reached out to her accusing Porter of repeated abuse, saying he's legitimately susceptible to blackmail and shouldn't have that clearance. According to the Washington Post, White House counsel Don McGahn was made aware of the abuse allegations at least 3 separate times, and that Kelly knew about them as early as this fall. When the allegations first broke, Kelly called Porter a man of true integrity and honor. But Kelly's second statement said he was shocked by the new allegations and that there is no place for domestic violence, but that every individual deserves the right to defend their reputation. The White House saying Kelly's new statement was largely prompted by the release of the graphic photos. Are you saying that the chief of staff of this White House had no idea that Rob Porter's two ex-wives had domestic violence allegations against him when they made those claims to the FBI, that John Kelly did not know that? How is that possible the chief of staff did not know that?
And the chief of staff does not get detailed updates about what may or may not have been alleged. This is a process.
Porter is romantically linked to White House Communications Director Hope Hicks, the White House not saying whether she helped write the statements commending Porter.
But I would say that all the statements were crafted by a number of senior White House officials.
Porter denies abusing his ex-wives, saying the outrageous allegations are simply false. I took the photos, and the reality behind them is nowhere close to what is being described. As for what President Trump knew and when, the White House will only say he learned of questions surrounding Porter's security clearance as reports surfaced in the press.
He was surprised by it, he was disheartened by it, and he was saddened by it.
So now a rare admission of fault from this White House. That Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah says that they could have done better, George, in dealing with this situation.
Right, to say, but it's not just messaging right now. More questions for John Kelly about how he's managing the White House and whether others have issues with their security clearances.
Yeah, because of these abuse allegations, Rob Porter was never granted a permanent security clearance. He basically was here for a full year working on a temporary pass because of these allegations. And he wasn't alone. Jared Kushner, the president's own son-in-law, is still on one of these temporary security clearances. We're told that John Kelly has been frustrated by the number of aides still on these essential temporary passes. Sources tell us there's been some chatter here in the West Wing about possibly letting these people go. But so far, George, no plans to carry any of this action out.
Cecilia Vega, thanks very much.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday. And before we sign off, I want to wish George Stephanopoulos a happy birthday. Today is his birthday today. Happy birthday, George Stephanopoulos. You do a wonderful job on Good Morning America.